friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma, and today we're going to be talking about caladiums. These beautiful things right here. Look at that! Caladiums are tuberous plants that grow from spring to autumn indoors. Caladiums are known for their colorful, striking foliage that comes in loads of different colors. I think there's over 100 varieties of caladium, so you're bound to find one that you like somewhere in there. They're also a fairly popular plant outdoors in warmer climates, but seeing as I don't live in one of those, I live in the grand old UK, I figured let's talk about caladiums as indoor plants specifically. So all of my care tips for this one are going to be based off of caring for them indoors. Really quick before we get into it, I just want to say if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplants you'd like me to talk about in the future, and subscribe for more. Probably the easiest and cheapest way to get yourself a caladium is to buy them as bulbs or tubers. You can buy them as full plants, but they will be more expensive, so why not buy bulbs instead? I think all of the bulbs I got, and I've got 6 or 7 different ones, were between £3 and £5, so pretty reasonable price-wise. Who doesn't love a bargain beautiful plant? And then you can plant it yourself and grow this from like essentially nothing. So it's a fun journey to watch. Some people suggest de-eyeing your caladium bulbs before you plant them up, and that's just removing the main like bud from the bulb, and that will activate all the auxiliary buds around it, and it'll create a fuller plant more like this. You don't have to do that, so it's really up to you. I did on some of the ones I planted and I didn't on others, and I think they all look great, so it's just a step that you can do if you feel like it. You want to make sure you are planting it right side up, so that's lumpy side up and flattish side down. It can be a little bit difficult to figure out which side is the right side up. I know I struggled when I was planting mine, so just give it your best guess. They will be fine if you plant it upside down, it just might take a little bit longer to grow, so it'll be fine. And you want to use 10 to 15 centimeters or 4 to 6 inch pots, and make sure that they have drainage holes because your plant's gonna want some drainage in there. It also will like a rich, well-draining soil, something that is a little bit chunky so there's air getting to the whole bulb, but also holds in some moisture because these guys are thirsty. Once you've potted it up, give it some water and put it in a nice warm spot and set and forget, really. You just have to let it grow and be patient. And eventually you will start getting some sprouts and some leaves and maybe even some flowers. And hopefully they will keep pushing out nice, beautiful, good growth throughout the entire like spring and summer season. And then when the weather starts to cool down and get darker come autumn, the leaves will start to die out, which is completely normal. These are kind of like annual plants indoors, whereas they might be perennial elsewhere. They kind of just act as annuals. So when the foliage does dry out and die off, you want to let it dry completely, let the bulb dry completely out, and cut off all the foliage. You can keep them in their pots and just let it be dry and live in a dark area, but I don't have room to keep just loads of pots of soil stored anywhere, so I am going to be taking these bulbs out of the soil and storing them in like wood chips in paper bags in a dark area just to let them sit out the winter like that. So you want to make sure it's not too cold, like at least above 16 Celsius or 61 Fahrenheit, so it will be able to sprout again the following year. Your bulb will be able to grow a few years before you'll need to replace it. Eventually the leaves will start growing in like sparser and smaller, and that's a good time to replace it. And then you get a new bulb with nice big beautiful leaves. So watering caladiums is a little bit different between watering before and after they've got foliage. Before it's sprouted foliage, you want to make sure it stays a bit drier. You don't want to soak it too much that it rots. So keep it a little bit drier. It won't need as much water. But once they start growing leaves, they are thirsty creatures. I swear I water these so freaking often. Pretty much every single time I water, which is like maybe twice a week in some cases, especially when it's really hot. They really like water. I think I water probably when the soil gets to about halfway dry. This allows for them to stay fairly moist and not get too dry. If you notice your leaves drooping quite a lot, that could be a sign of underwatering, so give them some water and they'll probably perk up a little bit. Medium to bright indirect light is ideal for caladiums. They do like it on the brighter side if possible. Ideally like 4 to 6 hours of decent light a day, but you do want to be making sure that they're not getting any direct sunlight because they will not like that. Their leaves are quite fine and can burn really, really easily. Too little light as well can make your plants a bit leggy. I think some of my caladiums are a little bit leggy because they all live on this shelf here, and as you can see, it's not the brightest spot, especially in the dark days of the UK. I mean, it's been cloudy pretty much all summer, so they have not been getting the light that I think they necessarily want. So just beware, give them more light if they are starting to get a bit leggy. This is within a meter of a southwest facing window, so I'm not sure. I also have a grow light on them, and that does help a bit, I think, but you should be careful with grow lights because they can burn your plants. I think, where's my burn bit? I have managed to burn some leaves by letting them get too close to grow lights, so just be careful not to give them too much grow light exposure because they will not like that. Like, just don't let it touch the bulb. Other than that, it should be okay. Caladiums like to stay fairly warm. Their ideal is between like 21 and 29 degrees Celsius, or like 70 to 85 Fahrenheit in the daytime. In the nighttime, they can handle a little bit cooler, but you still don't want to let it get that cool. Probably like 15 to 18 Celsius or 60 to 65 Fahrenheit. They are absolutely not tolerant to any cooler. They will get really sad and unhappy with you if you let it stay too cold. So avoid too cold of places. Also avoid cold drafts, as they really, really, really don't like that. So keep them away from aircon or like really drafty windows if it's not that warm outside. They're not gonna like that at all. Caladiums like pretty humid environments, like at least over 50% is their ideal. Mine stay pretty humid all the time. My flat, I don't know how, but I swear to God, it's almost always 60% or higher humidity without my humidifier on. So I think they're fairly happy humidity-wise. But if you don't happen to have a very humid home, you can boost humidity with humidifiers or pebble trays or grouping your plants together to like naturally boost the humidity in the area. I fertilize my caladiums probably every other week, and I do so with a half-strength fertilizer. I do half-strength because too much fertilizer can burn their very delicate leaves, so avoid over-fertilizing because they really won't like that. A rich, well-draining soil is ideal for caladiums. I personally used my like regular potting mix, which is coco coir, perlite, and worm castings. But then I added in some orchid bark as well to assist with drainage and make it a bit more of a chunky mix. And so far, I think they're very, very, very happy with that mix. They seem to really like it, and it seems to dry out at the right speed, I think, for them. You also want to be making sure that when you're potting up, you use a pot with drainage holes. I know I mentioned that previously, but drainage holes are a must. This one you can see has some crazy roots, which is awesome. Maybe I could even go up a size in this pot, but I'm not gonna repot it. You probably won't have to repot your caladiums, especially if you were storing them like outside of their pots each year. If you store them in their pots, you might need to go up a size, like in the spring, but if you're storing them outside of pots, just plant it in a bigger pot next year. Like, it should be fine. The best way to propagate caladiums is to divide the tuber, and you would want to do this in the spring before you pot them up. Basically, you want to find a bulb with at least 2 eyes, and you want to cut it in between the 2 eyes, so each piece has at least 1 eye, and then you want to let that callus over for a couple of days before you plant it up properly. And then once you pot them up, you watch them grow, and then you've got 2 plants instead of 1. Unfortunately, caladiums are toxic to humans and cats and dogs, So keep away from pets and children. Do not let them eat these plants because they will not enjoy it. Ingestion can cause swelling of like the mouth and tongue and gastrointestinal issues, and it's just all around gonna be a bad time, so avoid ingesting if at all possible. The sap of caladiums can also cause dermatitis, so like the itching and burning of skin, so if you get it on your skin, wash it off. I personally haven't experienced that at all, and I am a very big fan of just touching my plants. However, that sounds weird, but yeah, so I haven't had any issues with that, so just be careful. That's the main thing. And keep out of reach of children and pets. So in total, I have 6 types of caladiums. I know, I have a lot. And I thought it'd be nice just to share with you what they all look like, because why not? This one here is one of my favorites. This is an allure, and it has these gorgeous, basically white-ish leaves that have some striking green veins and green around the edges. I just think they're so pretty. They're just so nice. Like, how can you not like that? This next one is a Miss Muffet, and it is known for like its kind of neon-y green, lime green leaves with pink speckles all over it. Just a really nice one. I actually have 2 of this one. The one I have with the biggest leaves is probably the Red Flash. And I think also this is one that I might not have DI'd because there's only a few leaves rather than the like many that the Allure or the Miss Muffets have had. Also, this one has gone a bit leggy, so whoops. But it's still pretty. It's got this like beautiful red flash that comes out from the center of the leaf, which is cool. This next one is a Candyland, and I'm pretty sure that this one's my favorite. I really, really, really like the sort of light green and white, kind of like the Allure, but with these tiny dapples of very pale pink in the middle. I just think they look absolutely gorgeous, so those are definitely my favorite. Erins are also quite a nice one. They have gorgeous white leaves with green edges, and instead of the veins being like green or red, they have white veins as well, so it's kind of just like a burst of light coming out of the middle of a green leaf, which is really cool. And then last but not least is the Tapestry variety. These ones have white leaves with red veins, but then green outsides. I don't know, they kind of remind me of Christmas. Like, I know they're summer plants, but they make me think of Christmas. So yeah, that is it. That is all you need to know in order to take care of your caladium plants. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other plants you'd like me to talk about in the future. And let me know what your favorite caladium is. Do you have a favorite? I want to know it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!